least one person's been killed as Typhoon Kajiki batters Vietnam's coastline with winds topping 130 kilometers an hour. Hundreds of thousands have been moved to safety and airports and schools closed. Authorities are warning of dangerous landslides and floods as the typhoon moves inland.
These benches in the city of Vinh usually seat holidaymakers gazing out at northern Vietnam's sweeping coastline. But not today. Typhoon Kajiki is churning up waves powerful enough to swallow a person whole. As Kajiki slams ashore, the city is battered by torrential rains and fierce winds. These evacuees have taken shelter inside a sports stadium.
It's dangerous to be alone. After a public loudspeaker said to come to the stadium, I followed my neighbor and some police officers here.
I just hope the storm will pass quickly so I can go back to work. My children depend on me. Secondly, if something breaks, I won't have the money to repair it. It's hard. I am a laborer, so I don't have the ability to spend a few million dongs to repair my place.
To ensure the damage is minimized, these authorities are inspecting coastal defenses. Wooden planks and sandbags are stacked to hold back the storm's gales. Kajiki already tore through southern China. This weather radar shows the typhoon barreling toward Vietnam. The winds strong enough to break windows, so locals are bracing their homes. It's already the fifth typhoon to hit the country this year. Vietnam is already on edge. This year alone, storms and floods have claimed over 100 lives and left many more missing. The Southeast Asian country has suffered millions in losses, and the warnings are clear. Climate change is supercharging storms, making them stronger, wetter, and more unpredictable. For those in the tropics, that means the next disaster is never far away.
Now, the freelance journalist Michael Tatarski joins us now from Ho Chi Minh City. He is the author of the Vietnam Weekly newsletter. Michael, just describe to us, what does life look like in Vietnam today?
So here in southern Vietnam, things are relatively calm, though there have been some storms here and there from the outer bands of Kajiki. But in north central Vietnam, it's been raining heavily basically this entire day as the storm has approached. There's reports that some mountain communities are already isolated by flooding. And unfortunately, it will probably continue to rain heavily the rest of the night, potentially through tomorrow. I think the storm has only just made landslide. It appears that it kind of stalled off the coast. It was expected to make landslide several hours ago. So that's bad news for even more rainfall in these areas where highways have been closed and 2 airports have been closed. And in some cities, people have been told to stay home until the storm passes.
Now, you've mentioned that the area mostly affected so far has been the north. What other areas will be affected?
So it essentially looks like it'll be the stretch between Da Nang and Hoi An for the most part. Unfortunately, some of these areas just were hit by Storm Wipa about a month ago, which caused pretty severe flooding in many areas and killed 7 people as well. But these storms can sometimes create multi-day rain events even after the worst of the wind has passed through. So that's what areas we'll be looking out for as Kajiki moves further inland.
Now, tens of thousands of people were apparently already brought to safety. What do you think? How effective has Vietnam's emergency response been so far?
So these coastal areas, unfortunately, get hit repeatedly on an annual basis by storms. So the government and local communities, are pretty well versed in terms of moving people out of way, getting ships to shore, again, shutting down airports as needed, closing schools. The school year actually just started this week, so it's particularly bad timing. The storm did come across the EC quite quickly, but there were still a few days of advance notice. So along the coast, preparations are usually quite good. It is more difficult in the mountainous areas. Some areas are quite remote. It's very rugged terrain, so those areas can be more difficult to get preparations in place for.
Now, what kind of damage can we expect from this typhoon? Is it more going to be damage down to the strong wind, or is it floods?
Flooding pretty much always is the main risk with storms here. The storm did weaken a little bit before it made landfall. So I mean, of course, there will be some wind damage, but really it's this intense rainfall again, especially in the mountainous areas, and then as it flows downstream through the rivers. There's many rivers in this country, so that can be dangerous. And there's also risks often with hydropower reservoirs potentially overflowing, and then they need to release water through the dams, which can exacerbate downstream flooding. So it will certainly be rain and flooding will be the primary risk here. Landslides related to that.
Now, this is the 5th typhoon hitting Vietnam this year alone. Are there any lessons learned from past typhoons that are being applied now?
It seems like in mountainous areas, towns and villages are being more diligent about evacuating in advance. About a year ago, Typhoon Yagi hit northern Vietnam, and that was the strongest typhoon to hit the country in 70 years. Some entire villages were basically wiped out. It killed over 300 people. So that was quite a shock and a huge lesson. So I think in the mountainous areas, again, which I've mentioned a few times now, but they're being more diligent about moving people out of areas where landslides may occur.
Now, what can be the long-term implications now of more frequent and intense typhoons for Vietnam's coastal infrastructure and agriculture?
Yeah, this is a huge concern for Vietnam. It's routinely named among the most vulnerable countries in the world to climate change. There's also the risk that in the future storms will maybe push further south towards Ho Chi Minh City, for example. This part of the country is usually rarely hit, but if these paths were to change in the future, the potential economic damage in industrial or more, economically larger parts of the country could be vast. And even for North Central, it is unfortunately they get hit again frequently. So agriculture is kind of routinely under threat. So a big concern moving forward for Vietnam.
Thank you very much. The journalist Michael Tatarski there reporting from Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam.